Hey there. So we just got finished talking about hand portions and what they are last week, right? And how you can use it. It's pretty much a tool you can use forever. But as you go through this, you might find that, hey, what I'm doing now is starting to feel a little bit off, right? Because if you've been practicing that mindful and intuitive eating that we talked about before as well, you're in tune with how your body's feeling, right? And you might feel as if your body's a little bit hungrier more often, or vice versa. You might feel as if your body is feeling a little bit more full more often. Okay, and then there's ways that we can go ahead and tweak and adjust what we're doing. That being said, I highly suggest and recommend people start with 2 servings per food group each meal. Okay, so if it's a protein, 2 palm sizes of protein per meal, and then go from there. Right? That's a how do I want to call it? That is a typical suggestion, right? But it is not an end all be all for everybody. Okay, so let's look here as to reasons why we might tweak what is actually happening or tweak the actual amounts of food we're putting on our plates. All right, so if you look here on the left side, okay, if you need more food on your plate because you're either not feeling satisfied at meals, or you're eating fewer meals throughout the day, or you're not getting muscle gain results, well, then you want to start by adding 1 cupped hand of carbs and or 1 thumb of fat to a few meals, okay, for a total of 2 to 3 additional portions each day. All right, so I'll repeat that one more time in case this is a bit confusing. Okay, so if you're feeling like you need more food on your plate because you're typically feeling more hungry, or you're eating fewer meals throughout the day, or you're just not getting your muscle gain results you're hoping for, then you want to start by adding 1 cupped handful of carbs and or 1 thumb of fat to a few meals. All right. But to simplify it, you really just want to add 2 to 3 additional portions each day. Awesome. Let's look at the opposite, right? If you need less food on your plate because you're feeling too full at meals, all right, or you're eating more meals throughout the day than you're used to, or you're just not getting weight loss results, well, then you can start by removing 1 cupped handful of carbs and or 1 thumb of fat from a few meals for a total of 2 to 3 fewer portions each day. Okay, so you see how both of these are similar, they're just heading in different directions. We either need to add 1 cup handful of carbs and or thumbs of fat, or we need to take away 1 cup handful of carbs and or 1 thumb of fat, totaling 2 to 3 fewer portions each day, or 2 to 3 fewer additional portions each day. Okay, hope that kind of makes sense as to, and it builds off of what we learned last week. Now, let's just hop into some typical frequently asked questions when it comes to hand portions. All right, should we measure it out with our hands, cooked or uncooked? Gauge portions in the form you plan to eat them. All right, so hand portions are for plating your food. Okay, so cooked or however you plan to eat. If you are eating something raw, measure it out raw. Now, how do I count mixed foods? Sorry, mixed food meals like chili. Chili has a lot of different ingredients in it. It's just really important that you don't overthink it here. Guesstimate your portions and just continue the practice of eating mindfully, paying attention to your fullness cues. All right, we don't want to stress these types of meals. We still want to eat them, and this is where we really want to rely on our eating mindfully and intuitively skills that we are continuing to build upon as we go. Okay, and as an extra, add a little side of veggies and maybe an extra protein, because typically these mixed meals might be lacking in one of those departments. All right. Well, how about cookies, ice cream, chips, and other highly processed foods? The foods that just we can't help, but it is delicious. Um, 1 handful is equal to 1 thumb of fat and 1 cup hand of carbs. Okay, so you're adding one of each serving to your daily amount. All right, so if you're going to have a cupped, right here, like in this infographic here, you have a cupped hand amount of chips. Well, just add 1 thumb of fat serving and 1 cup hand of carbs to your daily count. All right. Lastly, how do I handle alcohol? Well, over here, 1 serving of wine, light beer, or spirits will come out to 1 cup hand of carbohydrates or 1 thumb serving of fats. Okay, so let's say you're having 6 thumbs of fat a day and you had a light beer. Well, now that's down to 5. You're allotted 5 thumb servings of fat for the rest of that day. Okay. Now let's look over to 1 serving of mixed drinks, craft or high alcohol beer, or dessert wine. Well, this is going to be a little bit different. Okay, what you can do is you can allot 2 thumb servings of fat to that drink, or you can let it count for 2 cupped hands of carbohydrates, or you can let it count for 1 thumb of fat and 1 cup hand of carbohydrates towards your daily allotted amount. Okay, and that's pretty much it. That's how you tweak depending on where you're at. And this is a great safe skill to use, which will allow you to take control over eating, be mindful about what you're doing, and never have to stress about calorie counting or measuring food on a scale. Okay, any questions? Reach out to me. Hope this was helpful.